Hello everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to Leetcode, and today we are doing the encode and decode TinyURL problem. Let's have a quick look through the spec here. A TinyURL is a URL shortening service where you can enter a full URL and get back a short thing that looks like tinyurl.com/4e9iak, whatever, some tiny gibberish. Design a class to encode a URL and decode a TinyURL. There is no restriction on how your URL encode-decode algorithm should work. You just need to ensure that a URL can be encoded to a TinyURL, and the TinyURL can be decoded to the original URL. Implement the solution class. For some reason it's been called codec over here, but anyway. We want to encode, which returns a TinyURL given a long URL, and then decode, which does the inverse. Given a tiny URL, returns the original URL, the long URL, that was used to generate that tiny URL. So this line here got me thinking, there's probably a really cheeky solution here. That I'm just going to try first. They haven't given us any restrictions on how this works. All right. Okay. Technically, we're done really fast. That's absolutely a cheat, though. That we have not solved the problem at all. Right. No, let's solve this properly now. Let's go back to the description. Right, so given a full URL, we want to return this short thing. So what we actually want to do is we want to design a fragment, and we want to put http, http://tinyurl.com/ and add on the fragment. And then with the short URL, what we want to do is we want to do fragment is equal to short URL dot. Now, strip doesn't do what I want. What I really want is to take everything from this. Actually, you know what? We're going to have a prefix. And what we also want is a lookup. This should be self.prefix. Lookup is going to be a dictionary where we store the fragment and we associate it with the long URL. So what we really want to do is we want to do self.lookup of the fragment is equal to the long URL. And then we want to return self.lookup fragment. So now all that's left is to somehow generate a fragment. We can do that however we like, basically. One way would be to just sort of generate a random thing. So, for example, here if we have fragment equals random.choice, I think it is, And let's say we want, how long is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say we want 6 things. So we're going to have now I'm sure these are in a library somewhere, but I cannot for the life of me remember where all the characters are stored. So we can just type this out quickly enough. I think that's how that works. So I can't quite remember some of the details around Python here. It's been a while since I used it. So we're going to switch to a terminal and run Python 3. I'm running IPython 3. It's the same thing. So let's say we've got abc.upper. Is that it? Yeah, okay, so it's just upper, not uppercase. Oops. And then here we want to import random choice. Give me the help for that, please. Oops, maybe we want choices. Okay, so if I was doing random.choices abc2, oops, k equals 2, bc, if I have 6, okay, so it does have replacement. Let me just quickly, well, actually no, replacement is fine. What am I talking about? So basically we want to do random.choices with k equals 6. Random.choices with k is equal to 6. And we want to join them together. So let me just test that. Oops. But that's the wrong way around in Python. Okay, so it's this way around. Let's give this a little run. Lower is not defined. Whoops. Lower. Actually, before I go any further, I've just realized this could be a problem. Fragment is that, while fragment in self.lookup, and we just want to do the same thing again. So all this does is just keeps generating trying to generate a new fragment until we give out. Obviously this isn't super safe in the long run, because in theory we could exhaust the entire space. I would assume they're not going to be quite so cruel as to do that to us. But we'll see. Short URL. You know what I should have done? I should have done a run through, because this is dangerous. Anyway. If we're feeling brave, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Okay, there's a solution where we haven't cheated or creatively reinterpreted the specification. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye. We're done!